sign in out there, so we have your name down.
And then Kevin has one of your last acts for your 8 years of dedicated service to the township. Will you lead us in the
8
pledge,
years and
please?
1 month now.
Okay.
Counting. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, and first order is to make a, if someone could make a motion to appoint a recording secretary for this meeting, please.
I'll make a motion. To appoint.
Discussion,
You did second.
don't need discussion before you second.
I thought you always seconded it. You'd have a discussion. Never mind.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Chad, Nancy, second.
And then roll call, please.
Mary Hess,
Yes.
Nancy Bradlow,
Yes.
Lisa King,
Yes.
Chad McNabb,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Okay, and then
Didn't want
this
to
is
go
just,
back.
all trustees, you received the agenda. If you are in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against the agenda? Nay? We don't need to do roll call for that.
Okay,
Okay.
I just 5 ayes and 0 nays.
Okay,
You
thank
get to
you.
vote too then.
Okay, and then the next order of business is our clerk vacancy and appointments. So thank you to the candidates for the clerk position who are here. You'll each have an opportunity. Thank you for sending letters. And so once we need to have a motion to declare the vacancy in the position of the township clerk.
Supervisor Hess, would it be appropriate just to state that the basis for the record is that the clerk-elect Nicole Crespo had moved out of the area, tendered a written letter of resignation, which is included in the board packet for the township board to review. And that would be the basis that she's unable to fulfill the position, creating the vacancy.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, and that's also on the agendas on the table out there with her explanation that she moved out of the state and that's why the vacancy was created. So now, thank you, Brett. Can we get a motion to declare a vacancy in the position of the township clerk?
Second.
Roll call, please. Or any discussion on that? Roll call?
Mary Hess. Whoops.
Am I to take over as?
Oh, yes, yes, sorry. She's, oh, sorry.
Supervisor Hess.
Yes.
Nancy Bradlow.
Yep.
And Lisa King,
Yes.
Chad McNabb,
Yes.
and.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do the interviews in the order of the letters of interest that were submitted to us. So first we have Andrew Calotson. And Andrew, if you would please state your name, address, your voter status, and then tell us about your interest in the position.
Yeah. So, my name is Calotson. Most people say it that way.
Oh, sorry.
I don't blame you at all. A lot of people call me Andrew though. I been a registered voter in DeKalb probably ever since that current date. What else would be?
Your address, please.
My address is 415 Pine Street.
415 and a half Pine.
That'd be in a weird spot right now.
And just, so you have 3 minutes. Gonna give each speaker 3 minutes, please. Go ahead.
So I want to say first and foremost, I love DeKalb. I love serving DeKalb ever since I moved here in the 2nd grade. I've been everywhere, as Mary has mentioned in the past. At soup kitchens, I volunteered for food pantries, I even made a local nonprofit, sometimes DeKalb, that focuses on environmental tradition town. I've gone to trash cleanup. I've gone to everything I possibly can to come back, to give back to the community I love. I'm one of the weird people that went to college in the Twin Cities and then came back to DeKalb because I loved it that much. And I planned on sticking around for a while because it's a very wonderful community. I have, for this kind of position, good 5 years of experience running meetings, recording minutes, and otherwise signing off on a lot of official documents, everything from a one-page form to a giant 30-page packet. Paperwork. I have a background in nonprofits and things, right? And so this opportunity for me as a township clerk is wonderful because it allows me to serve as a public servant for the first time. I really appreciate what the township does in terms of medical assistance, and fixing up the highways, and just what this body does. And I think you all are wonderful public servants. Something I may have over summer time. Contemporaries here too, and I do not mean to trash talk my contemporaries. Anyone that wants to apply to this position is very cool in my book. If you want to do it, as I do, I'm sure we can be great friends. Talk about our love for the township. But I definitely am younger, obviously. But I think in that youngness, I have a certain skill set, right? Young people are good at computers, troubleshooting Zoom and all that. That would be useful as the clerk, as well as, cataloging a lot of information. But on top of that, I think that every governmental body should represent all the constituency. And I don't think anyone in this room is as, right? But I would like to bring that, youthful perspective here in the township board. Yeah, I'm very passionate about DeKalb, what I do. I'm getting a graduate degree in data analytics. So when I say I'm good with technology, it doesn't. I do in fact mean that pretty much every day. When we lose this, I really do intend on serving the community as much as possible. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And thank you for all of your work as public servants here in the township. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So what I thought we could do is after each individual speaker, if you have questions, and then again, at the end, in case questions pop up in your head, try to be as comprehensive as possible. So if any of you have any questions?
I do actually.
Okay.
When are you graduating? And if you were to land like your dream job in a different area, how would you handle that?
Sure. So I'm graduating at the end of the next fall semester as a person that works in data analytics. Frankly, I expect to be working at the Sir Donald Foundation in a full-time capacity, which isn't DeKalb, so I don't plan on moving. When I say I plan on sticking around, I do in fact mean that I have a plan, because I know this isn't a full-time gig that is sustainable. That's a very fair question. If I were to, for some reason, go away somewhere else, I would obviously have to submit a letter of resignation if I moved outside of DeKalb, but I don't intend to. Just want to hear applying. That makes any sense, but that's very much right. Usually people are in transit when they're in grad school, so I want to do it until I'm saying.
Anyone else?
Did you attend an IU for undergrad also?
No, I went to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. That's like the only
Oh, you did.
3 years of my life that I've been outside of DeKalb, and then I came right back. Go Huskies.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Okay, and then next we have Melissa Gallagher.
Melissa Gallagher, address 423 South Second Street, DeKalb. I've lived there 26 years. I came to DeKalb in 1991 as a graduate student and finished my graduate degree there, and worked right outside of town in St. Charles for a few years at Arthur Anderson, and then came back to raise my family, came back to work at the Kentucky Family YMCA as Director of Human Resources. And I college as the director of non-credit short-term training and continuing education programs. I have 3 children. 2 have completed DeKalb schools. One is a junior at DeKalb High School. One child is a graduate of Kishwaukee College and a graduate of NYU. Another child chose to go out of state to play sports. And the third one was I have grown to love DeKalb. I wasn't really sure I was going to stay when I came in 1991. Actually, my plan was to leave. But, you know, they say once you touch the Kishwaukee River, you don't leave town. So I pretty much decided to stay, and I'm very happy that I did. I've been able to get very involved in the community. As I mentioned in my letter, I've served on various committees and boards, PTA. I was president of the DeKalb County Association of Human Resource Managers for a long time. I'm currently a volunteer with St. Vincent de Paul Society through the Raymond Catholic Student Center, as well as a volunteer for volunteer actions. Part of the reason why I became aware and interested in the township and this position is through my work with St. Vincent de Paul and understanding what Genoa Assistance provides to the community and how we can connect that information and assistance to our neighbors in need. So given the opportunity to, you know, be more engaged as the clerk, I thought that would be a really great way for me to better understand all of the resources that are available through the township to help our neighbors. I volunteer as often as possible in many capacities throughout the community and feel like everybody should be engaged in ways to help our community and give back. So I'm, you know, really excited to learn more about what the township does and to be able to figure out a way for me to even more so engage and help our members of our community. Very much for your question.
And your voter status?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm a registered.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions for Melissa?
You said you came in grad school in 91. What discipline?
Masters of Education and Instructional Design.
Oh, yeah. You know, Andy Torres being.
Retired right before I started because he was in like library science.
Actually, I believe.
He was okay.
Oh,
You don't remember all the addresses from 30 They end up Pete West, Howard Swan. I worked with them in the
Questions? Other questions? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, and then Steve, you're up. Your address, your voter status, and your interest in the position, please.
Steve Captain, I 1228 Sycamore Road, and I'm a longtime registered voter, longtime voter. I moved to DeKalb in 1980, and to go to school here, I got my bachelor's in economics, and I have stayed in the community and gotten involved in many different areas in the community, from peace and justice work to most recently the League of Women Voters in this room. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank the board for considering my application for the office of township clerk. Having served 12 years on the city council in DeKalb from 1995 to 2007, I believe that experience gave me a good understanding of meeting procedures and the deliberative process that a governmental body carries out. I reviewed the Townships of Illinois video outlining the duties and responsibilities of the township clerk and the information that Supervisor has sent out, which included the PowerPoint from the video and the state statute on the role of the township clerk. I found that many of the duties are very similar to those that I had as city clerk, where I served for nearly 3 years from 2009 to 2012. That includes taking minutes of the meetings, maintaining the records, publishing public notices, filing records at the county clerk's office, posting meetings for the Open Meetings Act, and requesting signature. I also visited the township website and read the agendas and minutes of the meetings for the past year to get an idea of the activity of the township. And I had a general idea, but I had not been following the specifics, so I wanted to see what was going on. As city clerk, I also served as the city's FOIA officer for non-police records requests. In that role, I reduced the response time up to 1 day by scanning paper requests and forwarding them via email to the appropriate people at the city. I used Excel to maintain files for a variety of licenses issued by the city and worked with the mail merge feature of Word to process the mailings to licensees. For the past 9 years, I've been employed full-time as the scan coordinator / file maintenance clerk for Jewel Foods in Sycamore. My duties involve maintaining the address system for more than 40,000 products within the store. Tag, you look at that tag and you know where to look. That has an address on it. My duties involve maintaining this. Excuse me. I also coordinate several thousand price changes each week and correct the errors that occur. My full-time schedule frees up weekday evenings for meetings and some flexibility business hours as well. I would also like to outline the circumstances of my resignation as city clerk in 2012 and answer any questions regarding it. So,
Okay.
if you have any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer.
All right. So I'm an Android person and this is an iPhone.
Is that my time?
Yeah, that's your time. Yeah, sorry.
I thought, unless you were getting a phone call.
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
No, no.
No, that was me getting the phone.
Sorry about
That was a
that.
perfect storm.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Steve?
I'd like to hear what you're gonna say about your resignation as clerk.
I took office in 2009 in the depths of the Great Recession. And the city had finances were in very bad shape. We had no reserves and revenues were falling. And the city had to make significant budget cuts and lay off significant people. That included the full-time deputy clerk in my office. And as a result, it was reduced to myself and a part-time person with the same responsibilities. And long story short, there's a lot to it, but I got behind on closed session minutes. And the city manager, I was catching up with them, but the city manager chose to he convinced the council to take me to court. And when on a Thursday demanded that I leave and say, we're going to court on Monday and we want your resignation. I ended up resigning, but not realizing until later that in speaking with the municipal attorney, that the violation that they were taking to the court over was in the traffic ticket in terms of the open meeting. As I said, I was catching up on those meetings on the meetings and when this occurred. So I take responsibility for shortcomings that I had, but that's the circumstances. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, all right, so now we'll take some time for the board to have a discussion. Are there any questions for any of the candidates, not just Steve?
Are those the only three people that are here for that?
Yes, yes, we did receive, I forget if it was 6 or 7 people expressed interest, but this was, they had to be present in order.
Right. Well, I didn't know who these other people were. They could come in. They.
Oh,
This is my cheerleading section.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Brother's team. Okay.
So they want us to come to speak on like I have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now we need to have a discussion. Otherwise, we would just go into voting for, someone
Right.
would need to make a motion on someone to appoint
Within the purview of the chair to allow public comments at this time.
If you chose to do so, you could allow public comment if you wish to do so, Supervisor House, but I would recommend that it be with a board majority consent to that, just because the meeting agenda has already been approved by the board. Which I would think would require a motion from somebody on the board to allow that.
Well, I'll move that there's public comment. I'm assuming people want to speak on behalf of their, their people. But I would suggest that it's limited, like don't just go.
Right. And is there procedural rule to having the form filled out?
Not per se. It would be appropriate if trustee King wishes to make that motion, that there could be a motion to advance public comment on the agenda to occur right now. If that is a successful motion, then Supervisor Hess, you could recognize anybody in the public who wishes to. We could also confirm if anybody signed up to make public comment. I'd be happy to do that while maybe that motion is pending.
I'd like to do exactly what Brad just said.
So you want to make a motion to move public comment up to the
Yes.
current, okay. Do I have
Just a 1 minute.
do I have a second from anyone?
I'll second.
Why don't you just, we'll just take it.
Okay, Dale will second. And because we're moving it up, we'll stick with the, as it's on our public comment card, we'll stick with the limit of 3 minutes.
We need a vote.
Yes, okay.
We just do it. Do we need a roll call?
We could do a voice vote for this.
Okay, everyone who is in favor, all who are in favor of moving up public comment? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. So would you like to start? Would you like to have public comment?
Sure.
Thanks.
My name is Sasha Cohen of the 800 block of Aggregation Drive. I'm also the currently serving DeKalb City Clerk. And so I didn't come to promote a specific candidate, just to highlight the importance of the clerk's role. Each of the trustees votes on policy matters. The supervisor manages the meetings and oversees the day-to-day operations. And of course, the highway commissioner and assessor have their own departmental responsibilities. But the clerk is an official that's there, representative to all the people in the township, that has to be dedicated to transparency and accountability and accessibility for all residents. And I think it's incredibly important that a lot of care and a lot of consideration is put into ensuring that we have a township that represents the interests of all of the people of this city, or this township, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name and your address.
All right, my name is Melena Grady. I live at 1508 Pickwick Lane, DeKalb. Andrew is someone who is really important to me. I've never seen anyone with such passion for the things they do. They come to problems that would make me shut down, and they come up with new solutions, seemingly out of nowhere, that are just so brilliant. And there's someone you get to know them and you go, this is someone I got to follow around, because you want to see where they're going to go and what things they're going to accomplish, because they have the tools to just go anywhere. And I believe that having Andrew serving the city would be his most amazing asset. I just think he's someone who can do really well.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to make public comment?
I'd like to.
Okay, please stand up and state your name and your address.
Yeah, hi. My name's Joe Rathke, 630 Joanne Lane, DeKalb. I'll be brief because I don't have prepared comments, but yeah, I'm also here to support Andrew. I've worked with him sort of doing community organizing work at DeKalb for the last year or so. And I think Andrew's shown himself to be someone who's really dedicated to working on behalf of the community. And doing so in a capacity where he's actually talking to people on the ground and meaningfully trying to engage with the community. And, you know, working with him, I think I've seen the deep significance of that. Yeah, that's about all. So yeah, I'd like to support it.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Kendall Nagy. I live on 1509 Creighton Circle West, DeKalb. And I also want to speak on behalf of Andrew, who, well, basically everything you just said, I think is a really good person for the community. He's very community oriented. He's been a good friend to me for since like middle school. But also just not just invested in the Cal community, but I think any community. And I know he went to school in Minnesota and he did a lot of organizing with to like disability advocacy, working with a lot of school disability advocacy, that kind of thing. So I know that he's invested in any community.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, one more chance for questions or
Discussion, yeah.
okay.
I would just like to say that I find it refreshing that a young man is in here and he's committed to his community and all the work that you've done in the community. I really commend you for that. So I think it's and for, you know, all of the interest and notice. It's just amazing to see the commitment and passion that there is for our community. So I feel like that's very important.
Thank you so much.
I'll echo what Nancy said. I think it is nice to see so many people and there's even more names here. It's an awkward moment because I don't know how we do this because what do we really know? We don't have a resume or anything. We just have to, I guess, go with it. So good luck to everybody. And thank you, City Clerk, for coming just to talk.
Same thank you to everyone who expressed interest in this. It's good to see, more people interested in township government.
Do we vote tonight?
So procedurally, there is an item on the agenda that would allow any trustee at this point to make a motion to approve a warrant of appointment for the township clerk with any individual who's qualified at this point. So it would require a motion and a second and a majority of the board to properly appoint a clerk at this point. If for some reason there was not a majority vote reached tonight, it is something that could be brought up at a subsequent meeting, but it would be appropriate to move ahead this evening.
We're in agreement that everybody meets the qualifications, correct?
Yes, I was able to, from their letters of interest, verify their residency. And then I also checked voting records. So they voted for one, yes.
All right.
Well, I'll go. So we just nominate somebody that we think.
And then does it only need a second?
It would require a majority vote, so it would be the proper motion would be a motion to approve the warrant of appointment of said individual as township clerk to fill the vacancy in term of office.
Okay, well, I'll nominate Andrew, the warrant of whatever Brad just said to fulfill the seat of clerk. And you're welcome.
Second.
Thank you.
And just a point of clarification on trustee King's motion, seconded by trustee Bradlow at this point. It's a motion to approve warrant of appointment of Andrew Tillotson, and I apologize if I said that. Oh, okay. For township clerk to fill the vacancy in term of office expiring on or about May 19th, 2025. That is the motion in the second.
Exactly.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Nancy Bradlow.
Aye.
Lisa King,
Yes.
Chad McNabb,
Yes.
Dale Thurman,
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Abstain. So motion passes. So Andrew, welcome.
Thank you all. Thank you for everyone
Thank you.
else who applied to. I know it's continuing to look forward to working with you.
And thank you to our other candidates, and you're free to stay or you're free to go.
Everyone for your trust in me, and I look forward to working with you all very soon.
Andrew, we're actually going to do the oath of office right now. So if you want to step forward, please. And clerk.
So, yeah, so was now. They only have to go on TV, huh?
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Andrew Tillotson,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duty of the office of
the duty of the office of
DeKalb Township Clerk
DeKalb Township Clerk
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Here's your seat.
Kevin,
Like Clerk Tillotson, at this point, you are the township clerk, so it would be appropriate for you to assume the seat. Procedurally, because a recording secretary was appointed for the duration of this meeting, minutes taking, roll call. Basically, you don't have to do anything, but you get to sit in the seat.
I'll just leave you this. You can have this.
Thank you.
You know, as a town clerk, and here's what I'm supposed to do instead of drop the mic.
It's been fun.
That's a hint and a half, though. He's running out of you.
Right, pay attention, yeah, don't pay attention to that.
Call, you'll stop back in if
Yeah.
it's finalized. Okay.
My name.
Yeah.
All right, so
Kevin,
I don't need this water. I didn't touch the water, so.
all
Thank
right.
you.
I just saw you move it.
And at this time, I'd like to thank Kevin for his 8 years and 1 month service.
Yeah.
I have a lot of nice people here, and I want to thank the people that work in the office, especially Karen, for helping me out and stuff, and if you need help, she's the one to ask.
You need to be free to understand.
Okay, thanks again.
All right.
This is the board packet. so
Good luck. And good luck to you all.
You can just.
Thank you, Kevin.
Look at all. Okay, online, so you need to sign there.
Okay, and the next order of business is presentations, and we have Dan Kenny here from the DeKalb County Community Gardens to talk about a new project that they're taking on that the township seems like it's a good way for us to get involved with this particular project. So,
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight and give me some time to share with you. If you don't mind, I'm just going to be seated.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
And Dan, just so you know that this is in their packets if you want to reference it.
Okay, great. So if you refer to your packets about the Community Food Education Center. So last page of your packet.
No, it's
No, it's not. It's right here. It's after this.
I read it already too.
Oh, It's a- Look at you.
I know.
Yep, it's after the township board. Warren, clerk. It's right past after the clerk. So,
to self-number these pictures.
Oh, there it
There it
is.
is, yeah.
No, I can just pull mine up.
Scan and bait stamp them.
So thank you again for having me. I'll start with a very brief description of DeKalb County Community Gardens. Hopefully, most of you know about it. And also, I wanted to say that this is a continuation of a conversation that I had with Mr. McNett and Ms. King at a previous meeting. about 2 years ago, I think it was. I was here talking. Also at that time, Mr. Smith offered to, for the Township Highway Division to be the site preparation entity to help get the project going, and has also written a letter of support for us for a USDA grant. So the township we've had this ongoing discussion about this, and so I'm kind of revisiting that discussion for those who are new to the board and new to the supervisor position. Community gardens, as you know, we're involved with food distribution with 2 grow mobiles. We've distributed over 1,200,000 pounds of food, 8 years of our existence since we started in 2012. We're now starting our 9th year. In addition to food distribution, we also have the Walnut Grove Vocational Farm up near Kirkland, where we do horticulture and agricultural instruction with individuals with developmental disabilities. And it's sort of a social enterprise where we sell plants and have a CSA program for vegetables up there, and have you pick strawberries going on right now. If you're picking any strawberries. We also in January of 2020 launched the Genoa Food Hub, which is a community commercial kitchen, as well as a food pantry and a gathering place for the city of Genoa. And since then, they have the previous food pantry compared to the previous food pantry. This hub has now served 3 times as many food insecure families in the city of Genoa. We also have a partnership with Dulcevita Hair Salon in the Northwestern Medicine, where we have a garden of 2 acres, which is located across the street from the Kishwaukee YMCA. And we also manage gardens for the city of DeKalb, the city of Sycamore, and the city of Genoa, where people can pay rent of a small amount and rent a plot to raise their own vegetables in. We're also presently serving as the convening organization for the establishment of the Illinois Food Systems Collaborative, which will be a statewide collaborative of food hubs, processors, millers, things like that, so that we can have a statewide network of connection. And then also I just wanted to mention, of course, that we have had over the years, very grateful for the support of the township, our social services grants that we've gotten from the township, as well as very grateful for the community as a whole for all the support we've gotten to allow us to get this far. So what we're looking at with the Community Food and Education Center is to bring it all together and expand our impact by being located in the food desert of the Glidden North neighborhood. With the Community Food and Education Center, there is also now the opportunity to call it a Community Food Health and Family Center. And I'll explain that as I go through my presentation. All portions of the facility will provide job training opportunities as well as jobs. And all portions will provide education with hands-on learning experiences for NIU students, youth of DeKalb Township and DeKalb County, as well as other individuals. So as you see in that one-page description, it would be the greenhouses and garden center, similar to what we have at our Walnut Grove Vocational Farm, only all of that would be located at this site. There would be also a food hub and processing center that would allow for processing of fresh local vegetables and freezing and cold storage capabilities. This is part of the infrastructure that's lacking in local food production statewide. There's a lack of meat processors, but there's also a lack of vegetable processors and cold and refrigerated storage. And so that's one of the key elements. If you look around DeKalb County or anywhere in the Midwest, when you drive on the roads, you see grain elevators and granaries. That's the infrastructure for the commodity growers of corn and soybeans. That is not there for the growers of vegetables. You'll hear stories from farmers. For instance, one farmer down in Bureau County, which is about 30 minutes from here, has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive into Evanston to sell his product. Or if they want to take their product to the distribution location in Chicago, they have to get up very early in the morning, especially if they're located out in Northwest Illinois. So the idea of setting up this statewide network is that we can have that food channeled into the DeKalb hub and it would be a connecting point or a bridge to the Chicago market, which by the way is about $25 million they estimate of untapped market for local food. So there's a real potential for this to become a facility that not only serves DeKalb County, but can serve growers, processors, and others statewide. There's also would be a community shared use kitchen for food entrepreneurs, food education, culinary skills instruction, food service training, nutrition education. A cafe for pay-as-you-can meals. That's what we do up at the Genoa Hub. We bring in guest chefs, Rudy Galindo, JP, Christy. Christy Sharp, yes. Christy Sharp have come in and prepared meals in the commercial kitchen, and then people pay whatever they can afford for the meal. Some people don't pay anything, some people pay $20. It just depends. And so that is an example of a model that we would be using in this area to increase the food access in that food desert. There would be a community flex multi-purpose space that would have technology. So that'd be like almost like a classroom where you could have cooking demonstrations, you could have all types of classes and other things going on, as well as it provides a gathering space. And also, of course, would be a food access point with either a cooperative grocery store or some kind of grocery element to it, but also a type of food pantry in a sense that only now what we've been going to with the Genoa Hub and what we've been piloting with the Northern Illinois Food Bank is where people can go online using just their phones and order the food that they want. It's packed in a box, put a number on it. They come in, say their number, they get a box of food that they've chosen themselves online. To try to get around the issue, or not around it, but to try to deal with the issue of dignity and the issue of uncomfortableness that individuals have when they use a food pantry. And that this way they have more of a say of what types of foods they get. It also would provide an event space. And also now there's some exciting developments that have happened is that it's also going to be able to provide a broad range of social services. We have 3 entities that are interested in being located in the space as tenants. And so that will provide a more stable revenue stream for us as we go forward, but it also will provide a lot more services right there in that neighborhood. And that's where the township, of course, comes in again too with your community services. I'm sure you're all aware of the issue for people to get out here sometimes to the office. And so the idea would be that you would have office space in this facility where you could do programming right there in the Englewood North neighborhood where a lot of your clients come from, as well as have office space to meet with the clients. One thing I would like you to consider also is that we're looking for ambassadors and advocates. That's people who know about the program, know about the project, share about the project, and hopefully speak positively about it and helps get the word out and advocate for it. Because I think this has an opportunity to not only provide services for the city of DeKalb and the township of DeKalb, but also for the entire county and the region. It's important. It will be located, by the way, on the NIU campus, the location that Mr. Smith discussed originally. That I shared, I think, with you last time I was here, the location just north of the new dorms where the parking lot, commuter parking lot is right now. But so it's not an NIU project. It's not a DCCG project. It's a project for the entire county and township. And want to really stress that it's a full community project. It's not just our entity, our organization that's going to benefit from it. It's going to be a lot of organizations benefit from it.
Thank
I'd be
you.
glad to answer any questions. One thing I was going to ask is that you would consider keeping this project in mind as you start talking about your 2023 budget. What I would like to ask is for the township to consider making a donation to this project of $100,000 at $20,000 a year over the next 4 years, starting in 2023. Or 5 years, sorry, 5 years, starting in 2023 to 2028. Something that we could discuss. I'd be glad to come back anytime and talk about it more, but it's a starting point for our discussion. Answer questions.
I have a couple of questions there.
Yeah.
What social services are you talking about? When you say social services will be housed there?
Okay, I really don't want to go public with this. Yet.
Okay.
It's a signed agreement, but it would be a health institution
Okay,
that would provide healthcare in terms of immunization, doctors on site at the location, which is right across from the University Village
Yeah.
apartment complex. So that a place that they could go, it would have a lab, so they could get blood tests done there, things like that. That would be one part of it. The other part is a organization that works with 0 to 5 or 0 to 7 age kids and their parents, teaching them skills in parenting, as well as working with the kids with some of their preschool needs so that they're ready for school. And all kinds of studies show that the sooner we provide those kinds of services to young kids, the better they're going to do later on. So that would be one of the services. And also, in addition to that, there would be mental health services along with the medical services that would be provided so that people could get mental health care right there on the site.
I know of 2 groups that are contemplating. One is, I think, in the process of building, kind of a social civic kind of organization that does similar work. So I guess my hope is that you all could work together, or they could work with you. I don't know how that goes and if you're familiar with that. You said Mr. Smith, so I know that you talk about Derek Smith, right? Craig Smith. Oh, Craig. Oh, sorry, I'm not used to
hear that much, do you?
You're referring to New Hope.
New Hope, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked with Derek, but I've talked with Reverend Mitchell.
Okay.
Yep.
Joe.
And they're going to provide us something a little bit different
Okay.
in terms of what I think, at least in my last conversation, trying to work with everyone. I also should have told you that I'm also the president of Opportunity DeKalb, which is a new CDC Community Development Corporation, a nonprofit community development corporation. We're mostly made up of members that were part of the Annie Glenn North Revitalization Plan Task Force that the city had to revitalize that neighborhood. And so in my role as president of that, one of the things we'll be doing is having, along with DCCG, is having town hall meetings starting at the end of this month. On the 29th will be the first one. So that will be open to anyone to come in and share their input into this project, as well as other establishing a real full understanding of what needs are present. A lot of times when we talk about the needs in the Annie Glenn North neighborhood, we refer to the housing study that was done 5 to 6 years ago. Always refer to the study done by Dr. Schuler and Dr. Fu at the Annie Glenn, at the University Village apartment complex. Both those, or that study was only with the University Village and identifying what the needs were in the village. It didn't talk about the full neighborhood. The housing study was only housing. It didn't talk about food needs. It didn't talked about income, but it didn't talk about how to address those issues. So anyway, the revitalization plan has 10 projects. And one of the top projects of high priority was the Food and Education Center. And so.
Okay, one more question.
Yep.
Are there people from the community who live in that community involved in this, or is this just people?
Yes, we have 2 members of the community that are on our task force right now. We have a third one that's just joined recently. I've been working with Trinity Alexander and the Sir Donald Foundation.
Yeah.
And also with Kiara Huggins and Priscilla, who are the center of it all.
Yeah, that's the other group.
Yeah, so I've been talking with them. They're part of the planning of this as well. And
Okay.
probably have space in the facility as well. Another entity that I've talked to about it guess I could say this publicly, is the state's attorney's office.
Okay.
Because they've been talking about having a family justice center. And so we have some discussions with them about having the family justice center located there, which is basically providing wraparound social services, health services, and so on for a family that's going through the justice.
And my last question is, what's gonna happen to that commuter parking lot and where are they gonna go?
Do you use it?
I don't, but I know a lot of students that do use it and they complain about it, you know, because it's so far, but still space.
I don't know. I really don't know for sure what they're gonna do about that. I don't know if they know yet either.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that they've talked about. One of the things they've talked about for a long time, as you probably know, at NIU is a parking garage,
Yeah,
another parking garage. in
Right.
addition to the one they have now. So this may help move that project along.
did you tell us, and maybe I missed it, how large is this facility gonna be?
Well, I think we're looking at about 35,000 square feet right now. The total budget right now is about $7 and $9 million. We have raised 1.7 million so far. That includes the in-kind donation from the township, as well as the individual donors and a $100,000 grant from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I apologize. I have one question. I know you mentioned an ambassadors program for this England North facility. Is that currently a form that exists that people can fill out, or is it in development currently?
Oh, it's not necessarily an organization, just asking you to be an individual
Sure.
advocate for it as you meet with people, and talk with people. They say, hey, I hear something's going on. What's it all about? Just speak about it.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I just had one comment that you talked about the stigma of receiving, you know, food from a food pantry. And I think the people who receive food don't have a stigma about it, it's the people who view them. And so there needs to be an education project, you know, focused on the community, saying that, you know, people who, this could be you someday.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
in
yeah.
acceptance. And
Absolutely.
the other thing, people can, you said sign up for the food using the phone, you know, you had to bridge the digital divide too. So there has to be
Yeah.
somewhere there so people can have the same access.
Yeah.
to those.
That's a very good point. Yes, and I totally agree. Yeah, but one of the things we've talked about is we have to have emergency boxes available and that they don't have to order, they can just walk in and get it. But that's a very good point. It does require a lot of education. Yes.
And because most of the problems I see around here are not the people who have a problem, but the people who view other people with problems. you know?
So thank you, Dan. I just wanted to get this out in front of you because it's, will be on a agenda item in the future, how we're going to support this. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. And then as the project grows, we'll continue to provide updates. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm glad to come back in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, we have moved public comments, so we'll skip over that. We have reports, supervisor's report. So I have some things to report on. First and foremost, I want to publicly thank Karen and Erica for how helpful they have been since with the transition, since I came in on May 18th, and helping me understand things and find things and everything else. So, you know, what I would do without them. So thank you, Karen, and pass that along to Erica as well. Second, you may have noticed that we have a new parking spot designated for veterans. And so Michael Embry had approached me about that, about getting that parking spot. And so I talked with Craig about it. And I don't know if you saw, we had to like make sure that we could do that or.
Yeah, in a public building and, you know, to our knowledge, it's okay to do.
Yep. And so that was installed last, on Friday before Memorial Day.
Dale, you missed.
Miss one,
On Friday before Memorial Day. And so just wanted to point that out. The other thing is in the last week, it was a very easy process, but I called the city and spoke to Marcus Cox, who's the transportation coordinator for the city. And the city has recently set up a new the city set up a new bus route to go out to Ferrara, how do you say it? Okay. And so I called them and asked if they would consider putting a stop here so that our clients who have transportation barriers would be able to get to the building more easily. And it was like hitting the easy button. Within a couple days, he called me back and he's like, yep, okay. You know, he came out and assessed the situation. So right now it is on the southeast corner, right there of Manning and 23. And, you know, it'll get implemented into their mapping system and so forth. So if you're having any conversations with residents who need to get to the township building and have transportation barriers, please let them know that there's a bus stop now. If it's getting utilized on a fairly regular basis, we can give a call back to Marcus and talk about getting moved to this side of the road so that people don't have to cross 23.
Do we know what bus number it is?
Great question. Maybe next month you could come back and tell us about this.
All right, all right.
Then the transition to Resource Bank is underway. We have started that process, and so we're slowly depositing funds from our existing account into that. So that's why you may see that in the financials, those large sums of money. The General Assistance Handbook, there was an edition that came out in 2017 that hadn't been formally adopted by our township. So I am signing off on that so that we formally adopt that. And there's just some slight changes for the general assistance process that Erica will be, be able to use. And so it just brings us more up to date with our general assistance program and more consistent with other townships around the state. So just making you aware of that. From the General Assistance Department, Erica asked that I share a couple events. One in May, she participated in Community Expo in Sycamore with the Sycamore Township to disseminate information about the General Assistance Program, since we serve Sycamore Township in addition to 17 or 18 other townships. Just trying to get the word out there about general assistance and get more people to utilize it. Also, last Thursday, Erica and I participated in the Camp Power Kickoff at University Village, where we handed out flyers about general assistance program, talked to residents there. And as a result of that, she's already gotten 2 referrals. On where each of you are sitting, there is a pamphlet about general assistance. We want all of our board members to have those so that if you, so Dale, you get some over there. So that if you come into contact with anyone who needs to know about that particular program, general assistance or emergency assistance, you have that. Yeah, that you have that information with you. Next week, I will be attending a supervisor's training to learn more about the role. In the next month or so, Torma, who is our liability insurance company, is going to be coming on site to do a loss control consultation so we can better understand more about this insurance that we have through them. So I will let all the board members know when that's going to take place in case you'd like to participate in that consultation. Last but not least, in your packets, we have a letter from the township officials of Illinois, where our very own Highway Commissioner Craig Smith has been requested to serve on their board of directors for the state. And so I want to thank Craig for getting more involved and I believe you accepted.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry, yes. And, it's a little bit of an honor and.
Great.
This is honorable.
Hello.
That's why I said I guess a little bit of an honor.
Hello. And he's humble. See that?
So I know that was a lot. Any questions about any of that?
That was a lot.
It was. I've been very busy.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
Camp Power went well, the kickoff.
It did. Yep. So hopefully they'll have a great turnout this year.
I had a question. Do you all for Camp Power, do you go any place besides the village? Like Amber Manor or Gideon
Camp,
Court?
Camp Power is exclusive to the village.
Just the village kids?
Yep.
Wow.
And it's run by the YMCA.
Yeah, that I'm aware of, but I just think that I know there are kids in Amber Manor.
Yeah.
And I know that there are kids in Gideon's Court. So I wasn't, I don't know all, obviously I don't know all the details,
Right.
but I didn't know,
Yeah.
like, if it's,
In the second year of Camp Power, we tried to expand it to the Pleasant Street neighborhood.
okay,
And it just wasn't real successful. And I haven't been involved in Camp Power after the second year, so I don't know if they're talking about expansion, but I would certainly suggest you call the YMCA and, ask them.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Park District could offer some programming in that neighborhood.
yeah, one of the things, that group that Dan talked about, that's one of the areas that Tiara is interested in, because there are a lot of kids that just,
Right, yeah, the population in that part of the city, there's a lot of
And
kids.
the whole neighborhood's full of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
And even on Greek Road, there are kids.
Like literally everything.
Yeah, yeah, so I
Briar,
get it.
Crest,
Right.
Brook, Kimberly,
Yeah.
everything.
yeah, so I would encourage you to reach out to the Y and the Park District and, see if there's,
They can expand.
right,
Yeah.
or residents there, they reach out. The more phone calls that
Yeah.
those agencies.
Well,
requesting
the
it.
tragedy always is that the people that need it don't always know about it. Like the people in Amber Manor may not know, because it's not their kids, right? So if I live in Amber Manor, nobody ever asked me. I just figure it's a University Village thing and not a City of DeKalb thing.
Right, and it is just a University Village thing at this point, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's opportunity to DeKalb, get back in with Dan and who represents Sandy Glidden North. And, maybe that,
Yeah, well, I'm gonna talk, to be frank, I'm gonna talk to Tiara about it.
okay,
Because I think, I was a kid of a single mom who benefited from a program called Social Center in Chicago and some other things. And it wasn't about where I lived. It really was about the conditions under which I lived.
right,
And so I think that the conditions are what probably need to be considered. And I applaud,
Yeah.
the Y for going, hey, we know this place,
Right.
but there are other places as well.
and they
Yeah.
fully recognize that. And Tiara was one of our counselors.
Yeah, I know.
In the first year?
First year.
Yeah.
And second.
I don't know.
Yeah, and second. And so, she shadowed me a lot, so she, knows like all the process of it to some degree, so
Yeah.
she'd be a great advocate for getting it started in other parts of the community.
Yeah.
Okay. Clerk's report, I don't, do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you all. I look forward to working with you further.
Thank you. Thank you. Highway Commissioner?
Not much at all. I will say, Lisa, Twombly Road is getting paved this year.
All right.
So finally, and sidewalks on both sides of the road.
Whoa.
I think it's from 2013 to work with the city of getting this accomplished, but by the end of this year, we will be done finally.
Okay.
So, other than that, my other road projects are going fine. So, we've been doing some interior painting. The new supervisor got her office painted. It's terrible color, but, other than that, we're moving forward. So, and welcome everybody and all the new electeds. So,
Thank you. You know when the Twombly repavement project was?
it just went out for, bid. We're not done signing contracts and, so it's not gonna probably start until probably middle of August. And it's pretty extensive, so it's gonna drag out until somewhere around Halloween.
The construction projects always seem to start about the time that school starts.
Always.
Well, and it's the second phase of projects, like all my other road projects are gonna be starting here in the next few weeks. But then that was kind of the second phase of things, And I will tell you statewide, construction projects from governmental entities are like down by about 60% for some reason.
Mm.
So there's not a lot of work out there as far as road work being done in the state of Illinois. By local entities, IDOT's doing 80 all the way across the state with all the extra money you're paying in motor fuel tax. As far as local money. So that's it for me. Thank you.
No assessor, trustees report, Chad?
Nothing major. We got the camp power thing ready last week and that's going. I know from the police department perspective, we're gonna hopefully have some guys attend the upcoming event that Tierra and Sir Donald Foundation are organizing
On the 11th.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. the
coming up.
Juneteenth-
Juneteenth.
Yeah,
Juneteenth,
so that's
yes.
coming up. And I know at least our chief will be there and we're hoping to get a few others there that are available, but we're just kind of happy that all these new projects are kind of blossoming up and, you know, Campus Cinema's down and that whole space is being utilized again. And I don't know, it's just.
How was that space being utilized?
It's been utilized for these community events.
Yeah.
It's open space right now.
And I wanted to state for the record too, that I do volunteer in a fairly regular capacity at the Sir Donald Foundation. I would be happy to be a liaison between the township and
Yeah,
for what it's
even
worth.
better.
So the event that's coming up is like the 11th, the fatherhood thing.
Yeah, I don't
Is that
remember.
what you're talking about?
That's the fatherhood one, yeah.
But I think there are two events. So one is Juneteenth and one is there's a fatherhood event
What
coming
I was
up.
talking about was, I saw info on the fatherhood. one.
Okay, that's the one that I thought, but then they said Juneteenth and,
Yeah, and
I
I,
saw something from Tierra.
yeah.
She had put a form together.
I apologize. I neglected that was on my list. So the Juneteenth event, June 19th at where Campus Cinema formerly was, it's a community celebration. And Erica is going to be there representing the township. And Nancy has already graciously offered to spend some time there. If there's any other board members that would like to be at the township table to represent the township, get to know the community there, please let me know. Okay, Nancy, you have any report? Nope. Okay. Dale?
No, man.
Lisa?
I think everybody has one. Mary gave you all one of these. I sit on it's a community mental health advisory board. And so one of the things that we think is important is that people have information and they have information prior to a crisis. And so having this available and talking with Mary about having something on our website that talks that people can go to if they feel like they need some mental health help. And in our view, mental health starts with self-care. So it's self-care all the way down to crises, right? It's not like, this is my diagnosis, this is my diagnosis. No, at first it's just general, I'm managing my life. And then it's whatever. So she passed out some of these and Chad is gonna take the law enforcement ones over to the law enforcement for me. So Mary has these so that when clients come here or anybody comes here, they'll have access and they'll have this information because unfortunately, we don't do a lot of talking about mental health, but I do think it's becoming more and more out in the open because I use Facebook. I don't use like IG and all of that, but there are a lot of ads and posts about mental health and not always crises, but self-care and good mental health. The students are about to start with orientation in late July. There will be on-campus visits. So there will be students in the community looking at the community, deciding if this is their school. Just because they go to orientation doesn't mean they've made a decision. What else was I going to say? That may be it. I guess if I think of something else, I'll say it. But I think, well, yeah, because you mentioned already the June 11th thing.
I don't remember the exact date, but it's on a Saturday, right? Fatherhood one.
Yeah, I think it's the 11th.
Familiar with that.
Yeah, it's the 11th. Because the 12th, I think, is a Sunday. Yeah, Dan has come a long way. I remember when it was just an idea too. I guess I want to say that, yeah. And congratulations, Craig, already. We said it. I've known you for a while, so obviously you're a man in demand by the state, at the state level.
Yeah, too, so you go. Okay, thank you, Lisa.
I think that anyone that fixes probably deserves to move up.
Right. It's been a minute.
Okay, next, we have bill paying. So I need a motion to approve the May audit report and June bills to pay.
So moved.
Lisa,
I'll second.
Chad seconds, roll call, please.
Lisa King,
Yes.
Chad McNabb,
Yes.
Dale German,
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Yes.
and Nancy Grace.
Next, we have to receive, file, and approve treasurer's May budget report. Need a motion for that, please?
A motion to receive, file, and approve Treasurer's May budget report.
Okay, Dale made the motion,
I'll second.
Chad second that, roll call, please.
Dale German,
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Yes.
Nancy Grace. Lisa King,
Yes.
and Chad McNabb.
And we do not have any unfinished business. So next is just a vote, which does not require a roll call, for approval of the May 12th meeting minutes. That was our regular meeting. So everyone who is in favor of those as they are,
I'm sorry, we'll still need a motion,
oh, we do,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
but you're right, it's a voice vote.
Okay. A motion to approve those May 12th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Lisa, make the motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Nancy will second. Everyone in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, we have the special meeting minutes of May 17th. So chance to look those over and approve those. Need a motion for that, please?
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Lisa will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, those are approved. Okay, next we have the discussion and approval of the updated COVID-19 policy. So that's in your board packet, and that needed to be updated to reflect the new governor's order with less restrictions. So we modified the policy just to be, in line with where the rest of the state is.
Compliance.
Yes, so it's motion, then discussion. Second, right?
Typically, motion second, discussion.
Okay, okay. Motion to approve the updated COVID-19 policy?
Can I ask what parts you updated?
I could certainly provide a summary, probably not gonna get every keystroke, but so a big thing was that basically employees just in the work environment have the ability to, if everybody in the same room or in a meeting is consenting to not having masks, that they have the ability to do that. We've also updated the mandatory quarantine portion, that if an employee is on file as having been vaccinated with their relative department head, that employee, if they're experiencing symptoms, or I'm sorry, if they've been exposed, are not required to have to quarantine. They have the ability to continue to work. And there's some other slight distinctions in the quarantining policy for them. As a general rule, the interaction with the public is going to continue with the presumption that members of the public would wear a mask coming in, and that staff interacting with them directly would wear a mask during that exchange. The department heads also have the ability, based on circumstances, and this evening's meeting is one of those, to exercise discretion in relieving anybody of some of the duties to mask in certain situations.
All right.
Any other, well, can we have a motion to approve?
I'm so moved.
Okay, Lisa,
Second.
no seconds. Any other discussion?
Roll call, please. Mary Hess.
Yes.
Nancy Grace.
Yes.
Lisa King,
Yes.
Chad McNabb,
Yes.
Dale German.
Yes.
Okay. And next in your packet is a contract for the electrical aggregation. This is something that some years ago was passed through a referendum in the community that we can go out and find the best pricing for energy. And so a contract, my understanding that they typically, the previous contract was 3 years long. And so as new elected officials come into office, that's when we renew this contract. And so that's why that is in your package. And that is for township residents who are not in city boundaries. Because the city has an electrical aggregation as well. So this is serving those outside of the city limits. So I need a motion to for this ordinance to ratify and approve the electrical aggregation program with Synergy Energy Services, who offered the most competitive bid for that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Nancy, second.
I'll second.
Ed, any discussion?
May I say one thing, Supervisor Hess? I was in the village of Kirkland Monday of this week, and they're doing the same process right now.
Mm.
The per kilowatt hour rate that, because they're in a different consortium, it's 0.06054 was like I'm sorry, 0.06504 was about the most competitive rate that they are currently able to anticipate getting. So this is
Oh, so yeah, we're saving.
a pretty favorable rate just in the relative to DeKalb County market.
Fantastic, thank
I
you.
hope they're pleased with us.
Roll call, please.
Lisa King.
Yes.
Chad McNair.
Yes.
Dale Bennett.
Yes.
Mary Hess.
Yes.
Nancy Brown.
Yes.
Next is a resolution to approve me as the township supervisor as authorized agent for IMRF. And that is just a procedural thing that happens when a new supervisor comes into office to handle our IMRF accounts.
Mhm.
Anything else that?
So
Okay, all right.
what is IMRF?
Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund.
Oh, okay.
But that's what basically all the employee pensions are IMRF pensions. So we just need to update who the delegate, the person authorized to interact with IMRF for
Okay.
changes in employees, submission of the pension payments and such.
So can we get a motion for that resolution?
So moved.
Lisa? Second?
I will.
Jay? Any other discussion? Roll call?
Dale Bennett.
Yes.
Chad McNair.
Yes.
Lisa King.
Yes.
Nancy Bradley.
Yes.
And Mary Hess.
Yes. Okay, and then we have approval of funds in the amount of $2,750 for continued support of DeKalb County Economic Development Corporation. They had reached out to me last week or two and shared with me that we've traditionally supported them. We do have a line item in our budget for this type of thing. It does fall within the township code to support economic development. I did ask them for to share with me a history of how we've supported them over the years, and I confirmed with Jody, our bookkeeper, that this is something we traditionally do. And then it's my understanding that as supervisor, I'll be attending the economic development meetings to better understand what's coming into our community, or, what we're trying to do to engage more businesses to help grow our tax base and bring more services to the area. So I'm just looking to continue that relationship with the Economic Development Corporation, TCEDC.
So is this like a yeah, is this like a membership fee? Is this a-
It's our,
Supports, well, I mean, in your packet is Oh, thanks. It's a contribution, yes. That one is the very last page.
Your product page.
So yes, it's a contribution, which with it comes a membership that we can be represented.
And how many years have we?
Goes back to 2013, every year. So for 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, it was $2,500. The last 2 years were $2,750.
And that's the, I'm assuming that's the marketeer contribution level,
What's that?
the marketeer contribution level.
Oh, yes. And so actually they requested, they were having a introductory meeting to new elected officials, but it was at 5:45 tonight. So I'll be meeting, having a one-on-one meeting with them to learn more about how we can, utilize them to share our message of what the township does.
Okay.
That's still ballpark, or?
Yes, Paul Boric.
Is it a reason why it comes at this point? I mean, did it come, it didn't come before? Or you have to do it because you're a new person? I don't. I mean, it's not a grant. I know that.
It is not.
But is there a reason why it's coming now? I know you said he just contacted you.
It looks like this is about, based on the records, that this is about the time of the year that this happens. It may have been sent, earlier this year, and just because we didn't have a full-time supervisor, that it didn't come up.
Okay.
So that's why I'm doing it now.
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah. What's the benefit of that level as opposed to, other levels? That's not quite so clear to me, because there's a marketeer, a planner. That was kind of confusing. I guess I could look that up.
I'm not prepared to answer that question
Okay.
because I haven't met with them
Alright.
yet. I'm just going off what's traditionally been done. I had anticipated that,
We just stay the course.
yeah, I'll definitely look into that. After I have that meeting with them, I'll be able to talk more about how, we're gonna work together.
Oh, yeah, I just want to make sure we just right size our contribution to them and get the maximum benefits from it.
Right, absolutely, yep. And one of the things that I'll be doing when there are DC events, I'll be sharing that with all board members so that, any of us can go and represent the township at those events.
I know in the past, Paul Borik's come and spoke,
Okay,
I think back around 13, 14, maybe it's a good time.
okay, yeah, how about I ask Paul to come and do a presentation?
That's fantastic. That's perfect.
Okay, I'll see if I can get him here in July or August. Sound good?
Oh, perfect.
Okay, great. Thanks, Craig. That's a great suggestion. Okay, do we have a motion to, for the approval of funds?
I move.
Second,
A second.
any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Chad McNair,
Yes.
Lisa King,
Yes.
Nancy Bradwell. Yes. Mary Hess.
Yes.
And Joe Thurman.
Yes.
I think I went to one of these meetings. Cohen is involved with this too,
He
right?
was.
Yeah.
He was the president of it.
Yeah.
But Eric once, Lisa, long time ago. didn't he?
Did I? I don't know. I know I went with Jenny once too. Yeah.
Yep, so I will share those events but we'll get Paul to come to one of our meetings. And I know that like the, when there are, like the enterprise zone, when that was being proposed in this community, that was headed up by DCEDC. And so Paul went to all the different taxing bodies to explain, because, that affects all the taxing bodies. So, if there's something to do with anything to do with our taxes, we'll definitely require them to come and speak to us. Okay, there's no old business, so our next regular meeting is on July 14th at 6 p.m. And so with that, if we could have a motion to adjourn, please.
A motion.
And see,
Second,
A second.
Dale,
everyone in favor, say aye.
anyone opposed? Okay, all right, thank you, everyone.
Kevin left his oath of office.
I seen those 2 pages, I about want to fire.
So we all had, I didn't realize we all had our own.
But it was,
You might have to leave early just to go to work.
yeah, well, I might have left early just to leave early, but,
Oh, that's cool.
And well,
Uh,